World War II is the most devastating war in human history. Let's understand World War II in depth. Starting to end, what happened exactly? Why? What was its impact? And how Hitler made his soldiers stronger through drugs.
Du meine Arbeit für richtig hältst.
The whole world is against Hitler and Hitlerism.
Beginning with the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. This treaty blamed Germany for World War I and forced them to pay $33 billion in reparations, which severely crippled their economy. This led to hyperinflation, unemployment, and social unrest. Adolf Hitler rose to power in 1933, promising to restore Germany's strength and blaming Jews and socialists for the country's struggles. In 1935, Hitler began breaking the Treaty of Versailles by building up Germany's military. In 1938, he annexed Austria and then demanded part of Czechoslovakia, claiming it had many German speakers. The Munich Agreement allowed Hitler to take the Sudetenland, but less than a year later, he invaded the rest of Czechoslovakia. In 1939, Hitler signed a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union, then invaded Poland. This invasion marked the official start of World War II, as Britain and France declared war on Germany. Despite this, Poland was quickly defeated using Hitler's blitzkrieg strategy, a fast-moving, surprise attack with tanks and planes. Hitler focused on making the wars as small as possible. Within less than a week, to maintain this blitzkrieg, German soldiers were given drugs. A drug by the name of Pervitin was quite common. Today, we know it as crystal meth. When this drug is taken, it takes away fatigue. One doesn't need sleep. It suppresses hunger and thirst, reduces pain, and gives a confidence boost to the user. Giving such drugs to soldiers proved enormously advantageous. It was very useful in winning these wars. The defending soldiers would waste their time by sleeping at night, while the German soldiers could fight day and night and finish the task within 2 to 3 days. As we move forward with the story, Hitler's forces moved swiftly through Europe, and by 1940, he had invaded Norway, Denmark, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. On May 10, 1940, Winston Churchill became Britain's prime minister and took charge of the country's fight against Hitler. The German army used blitzkrieg tactics to quickly overwhelm France, and by June 22, France had surrendered. Britain was now Hitler's only major opponent in Europe. One of the most critical moments in the early war was the evacuation at Dunkirk in May 1940. Nearly 400,000 Allied troops were trapped on the beach with no way to escape. The British managed to evacuate 350,000 soldiers using ships and civilian boats under heavy fire from the German Army and Air Force. This was a huge boost to morale in Britain and prevented a total loss of their fighting forces. By the summer of 1940, Hitler controlled most of Europe, and Britain was standing alone, refusing to surrender. While the United States was not yet involved in the war, Britain's resolve would eventually help change the course of history. By July 1940, most of Europe was under Hitler's control. Britain was the last major country still resisting, and Winston Churchill famously declared, "We shall never surrender." Hitler's plan to invade Britain, called Operation Sea Lion, relied on air superiority. The German Luftwaffe bombed Britain to destroy its air force, but the British Royal Air Force fought back bravely. The turning point came on September 15, 1940, when the British stopped the German assault in the Battle of Britain. Hitler then turned his attention to the Soviet Union, believing he could secure control over much of Europe. In June 1941, he launched an invasion of the Soviet Union but underestimated its size and the brutal winter. Meanwhile, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in December 1941, bringing the United States into the war. The U.S. joined the Allies, which included Britain and the Soviet Union. In 1942, major battles like Stalingrad and Midway marked key turning points. The Allies began pushing back the Axis powers. Mussolini was overthrown in Italy, and by June 1944, the Allies launched D-Day to liberate France. With pressure from both the East and West, Germany's defeat was imminent. Hitler's forces crumbled, and on May 8, 1945, Germany surrendered. The war led to significant changes in Europe. The United Nations was created to prevent future wars, and Germany was divided. The European Union was formed to promote peace and cooperation. Japan, after 2 more months, finally surrendered in September 1945, ending World War II.